Hello. Is my mic on? My mic is on. Always make sure the mic is on before you go into a long speech. Hi. We're here. Finally. I actually wanted to do this morning to start off the day right, but I knew a lot of people would be at work, so I thought I'll just do the evening thing. Lots to talk about, obviously. My name is DrewUniverse, and I am accidentally seeing my own face, which I don't want to see right now. So I'm going to switch to a different tab. There we go. Okay. So we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. It is the 25th anniversary of Legend of Dragoon. The first release was in Japan. So although most of us got the game and lived in North America about 6 or 7 months later, this is when it first released, December 2nd, 1999 in Japan. Different release timetable. We got it about 6 or 7 months later. Europe got it another 6 months later or something like that. But I wanted to base this on the original release. It's been 25 freaking years. There is... I had a script, and I kind of want to go off script because it just feels better. I'm going to review our history with you. It's mostly just going to be me talking because my real life got screwed up enough that I had to do a lot of things that prevented me from making several special things for tonight's event. So I have pivoted my plan. Tonight I will mostly just talk to you live here on the stream instead of showing some pre-recorded segments that are still whips right now. And this will serve as the kickoff launch celebration. And I will then release many smaller nuggets of special things every 3 or 4 days or something like that in between the activities we'll be facilitating for you. So just to make that clear, this is my pivot plan. I do have some reveals to share with you, however, to keep it spicy, because we like it spicy in the Legend of Dragoon fandom. I also have a package on the way, and it may or may not get here before the stream ends. We'll have to see. It might arrive in an hour, it might arrive now, it might arrive in 3 hours. I don't know. We'll find out. To start things off, I will probably play a little bit of Severed Chains just to show everyone who isn't aware of it yet. We can get excited about that with the latest dev build, because whether Sony does anything for LoD or not, we will always be able to count on ourselves, self-sustainability, for the fan-made PC port, which has increased modding capabilities, core feature improvements, even if you don't like mods. And after a little bit of gameplay, we'll pivot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try a feature I haven't usually tried on the stream. And that feature will be the Q&A thing. So let's try that out. I would like any of you who have any questions at all about the fandom itself, the game, whether it's a basic question or a hard question, send it to me. I'm going to try and activate that in a second here. You'll stack up your questions, and I'll see if I can answer them in a row, because I feel like I've missed a few questions in recent streams, and I don't want to miss them. So let's try a Q&A. Ask anything about LoD, fandom stuff, etc. And we'll start the Q&A. So for me, this has given me a new questions tab instead of the chat tab. If you have nothing to ask, that's fine. I'll still watch the live chat. I have many devices with which to check on things this evening. So I will use this device to check regular chat, if it will let me. I'm seeing a lot of names I haven't seen before. That's also good. And yeah, if you have a question, there's a little Q&A thing in the chat. It should be showing you. You can ask any question, and I will answer stuff. Looks like we got the first question. What game am I going to nerd out for once I decide to step down from LoD? I have a lot. Oop. Sorry, my phone wants to play an ad on my own video. That's smart. Let me, there we go. Okay. What game? So there are several games. Some of my favorites include Advent Rising for original Xbox. Another was Nexus Jupiter Incident, a PC game. It's a space combat strategy game. Very, very tiny fandoms. Probably never going to get a reverse engineering project off the ground for those unless I like pay someone a lot of money. It's a lot easier to get these projects off the ground for free when you have lots of fans working together. And we really lucked out with Monoxide as a senior engineer in real life. So we really lucked out. But I'm planning to branch out to a lot of things concurrently with LOD. And then once things are like great, like extra great, I will, step away from most of my responsibilities. I really would like to, like, my comfortable role in LOD would just to, interact with the fandom in general and be an archivist, do some funky video experiments or other experiments, and not have to hold all the projects together. We need some project leads. So as part of this festival, if anyone's looking for something to get involved in, you're bored or whatever, and you love LOD, we got lots of stuff that could use your help, whether it's 5 minutes doing some wiki editing or taking on project lead for something and running with it. There's a lot of cool things that can be done. We'll be going into that in the next couple of days. With mods, can we get new outfits for the party? Yes. The simplest way to do that would be to just have a full model swap. I don't know about like swapping only the clothes, because the way the 3D models are is not like it's not a model for the flesh and then other models for the armor on the flesh. It's all one thing with the flat textures. So it would probably be a little more complicated than that, but I know that we're going to be doing weapon modding, and I assume custom outfits or custom texture swaps for the characters will be a thing. And once people start making like high-res 3D models, which actually distinguishes the flesh from the armor pieces physically, it'll probably be easier to do some kind of clothing swap thing. I don't know. Should be. How did Lloyd steal the tools from the Winglies? Tools. Do you mean the Dragon Buster or the DMOs, Divine Moon Objects? For the Dragon Buster, it was apparently stolen from Cadessa. And for the DMOs, it's shown in the game how the DMOs are acquired, so that should be pretty self-explanatory. Thoughts on Dart in Astrobot? I haven't seen much about it. Like, as far as I know, there's not much to show. All the bots only have like 1 or 2 animations. I know Dart can be struck, and then he gets a little 1 yellow damage indicator. But that's just about it. It's cool that he's there. It's just like a showcase of PlayStation Legacy in a way. It would be cool to see more. I think it would be cool to see more. That's pretty much where I leave off with that. I'm going to move back to the regular chat so I can see what everyone else is saying. Hello to Eric, Michael, Ponybro, Playgrounds, Enclave, Walker, Zenith. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Yunsha, good to see you. Thank you for coming by. Zycronix will help me moderate the chat tonight, so y'all behave. Cyborg, Mark, Lacus, Abyssal, Soar. A lot of people. So I'm going to pull up Severed Chains just to get us in the groove. I also am using a new camera. I also have a green screen on the way, but it's not going to be here till Friday, so my green screen is not perfect. I'm still using a cloth draped diagonally. It is a very bad setup, but I am making it work as best I can. I have bought a much nicer green screen. It's like one of those projector pull-down screens, except you pull it upward instead. That should massively simplify not having any like wrinkles or anything, or uneven lighting being nearly as bad. My lighting situation is something else I have to fix, but I'm getting there. I'm starting to invest more in the production side, since it seems that's where my role is leaning lately. So, there's a lot of things I want to do tonight, but let's start with that. So we're gonna go new window, games, Severed Chains. Oops, I didn't. That's not ready. That's very much not ready. Plan B. Plan B will do it the other way. One of the things I was going to do is not ready. That's fine. There's something else I can show another day. Alright, so we'll run it through this. Why isn't the chat thingy working? Oh, is it because... Oh, it did that. Forgive me. Didn't realize the pop-out also switched to the question answer thingy. Alright, so we're gonna go to... that one. I also got my little Clippy over here. Remember Clippy? Another thing from 25-ish years ago, it feels like. I'm actually an unironic fan of Clippy. I regard the flaws of Clippy in general, and also there was a lot of potential with those like assistants and things. And that's what we had before all this, you know, pseudo AI and language model stuff that tries to be really advanced. And sometimes I feel like Clippy is more helpful than the so-called AI assistants. So I am hanging on with Clippy. Someone did a fan music video, like a whole custom animation of Clippy. There's some Clippy fans out there. Let's run zdev build. Yeah, what this one says, sometimes I just pop up for no reason at all, like now. It's perfect. There is the sound we want. If the audio levels are messed up, let me know. I'll fix the audio levels. No, I'm not doing no... I develop things, but it is not in the coding style. No, I do not code things. My coding knowledge is limited to blackjack on command prompt, and then BB code in forums, and then wiki editing code, which is a lot like BB code. But you already know that, Tychronics. So, Severed Chains, for those of you who don't know, it's a PC port built originally by Monoxide, who reverse engineered the game into MIPS assembly from its compiled data on the disks. And in raw assembly, then slowly converted that into Java, starting with an emulation layer, and then ripping that out to make it a true PC port. This version has been playable... Severed Chains has been playable for about 2 years, and it's been completable start to finish for at least a year and a half. It's hard to remember anymore. It's a really incredible program. We've had so many additions of features, and a lot of that may not be visible if you only play on the stable release, but at this point the dev build is very stable in general. There's only like 1 or 2 crashes left. The rest is like visual errors that don't matter so much, and you can still play fine. And there's just so much other stuff in here that we'll take a quick look at. I did some of this in the Prelude stream. Yeah, I did a dev build save. So I think I was just rushing Helena at the time. Did I lose? Is that why I'm still in here? Did I lose to Frugal? I don't remember. Maybe I just didn't save. Oh, you know what? I might not have saved, so maybe I'll just refight Frugal. Well, while we're here, look at how fast these menus are loading in and out. We got some gameplay options, edition mode, normal, automatic. We got some accessibility features. So if you have hand pain, or you want your kid to try it out and they can't do the additions yet, plenty of reasons to have that accessibility. If you like an extra challenge, you can go no reticle or no HUD. No reticle means it's not gonna spin closer and closer. You only get the static square. No HUD means none of the squares at all. It's completely blind. You just have to go off of the animation or the sound. Automatic Dragoon edition, same deal. Automatic text advance if you're just doing a quick combat run to test some builds or whatever. Battle transition, normal, fast, or instant. It's pretty nuts. I might just leave it on fast for now, but button mash automatic. This is important for me because I have trouble getting to the percentages I used to be able to get, and I've beaten this game a billion times, so it's fine. Accessibility. You can disable status effects if you want to test some stuff. Encounter rate can be none. Intended, which is very high. The intended rate is bugged, so that's what retail is. And then average kind of is a midpoint, so you get the same amount of encounters as retail without the bug. You can enable HP bars if you want to see at a glance how much HP someone's got left. XP and gold multiplier. Some of this is from mods I have installed, but we only have a couple mods right now. We're doing the graphics overhaul first, and then mods will increase in number quite a lot. Some of this is just from retail, like the indicators, the indicator icons for your entrances and exits. Inventory size, quick text, save anywhere. Save anywhere is super cool. Unlock party, so you can get rid of darts. If you're first just now hearing that dart can be removed from the party, buckle up. Buckle up. Graphics options, we should look at that. So 2D widescreen mode, stretched or expanded. Stretched takes the 4:3, whatever you would normally see, and just widens it to your monitor. So this is 16:9 stretched. Everything will be extra wide compared to what the devs intended. Or you can do expanded, and any submaps, any locations you walk around that happen to be a long image, you'll get your native 16:9 from that. You'll see how it looks. 3D widescreen, I believe that's the true widescreen in battle. I never not use that. Full screen if you want it. Resolution, you can use your native window size, and you got all these other options as well. You get native resolution to the maximum res that your monitor can put out, but you can still select a number higher than that. So I've got a 1080p monitor, but I can choose 8K, and it'll do basically super sampled anti-aliasing. High quality projection just does a little higher precision math. You can choose your audio device, a couple controller options, rumble on or off, and let's do stuff. So here you can see this is a really long background image. So for the most part, it's 16:9. Occasionally you're gonna get some black bar on one side or the other. That's just how it has to be. We can't just, if we put in extra content there, we have a thing. We almost never touch retail behavior in terms of how things are presented, the assets and things. So that is left to mods if they want to fill in that extra space or whatever. It's just making the best of the situation that we can, and sometimes you get to these really nice 16:9 views. Alright, so I already beat Frugal once. We'll just get through this real quick. We'll do a little fast forward. Get rid of that mouse. Let me put the mouse over there. I'll also check for more questions. Happy Dragoon Fest indeed. I'm not seeing any more questions. Okay, back to the full chat. What's the dig thing? So dig is the functionality to transfer stuff from Moguru to Boss, or Mogul to Boss. It's a underground adventure. The boss digs underground, supposedly from his antique shop in Lohan. He digs around, kind of like Dig Dug, and emptying out these square grid spaces. They may or may not have little treasures in them. Some of the squares visibly show there's a treasure there, like a large gem or something, or there's a rock. You can dig under the rock, it'll fall and break, and sometimes give out another gem. You collect money, bones, and gems, I think. So the money is money. Bones and gems increase. I don't remember off the top of my head. I used to know this off the top of my head. But basically you can increase your attack power as well as your vitality, your hit points, so you survive more in battle. You can take more hits before you get knocked out. If you do lose a battle with a creature, you get sent up to the nearest Memento cave. There's Mementos that you go to. They will revive you and put you there as like a checkpoint if you visited. They will also kind of store your progress. So you have to go there to put in the bones and the gems or whatever, and they power you up. Then you can go off deeper into the dungeon and fight more. There's a bunch of random enemies. They sometimes have chests in the rooms where you fight them. There's a couple of bosses at set depths. So at the depth of, say, 200, I'm just pulling a number out of my head. And then those set bosses each have a set accessory, with the final reward being like a phantom shield. And you also can get consumable items. All this can be transferred to the main game in Japan, but in North America, the Pocket Station was canceled, but the game was left on the disc, so you'll be able to use that once we reverse engineer the actual mini game. For now, just the transfer functionality is in place. We did a demo of this like a year or two ago. It's really impressive. But I need to shut up and actually move this forward. Oh no! Because I don't have automatic additions on. I need to go back to that screen. A burnout on Dart. Sandora doesn't know crap about this game. 3 damage. Oh no, what am I gonna do? Alright. I think I'll put that on automatic, so we'll just show what that's like. If I did it correctly. It's going by itself. No hands. Big damage. So Shauna did 34 and Dart's doing 7. So whoever tells you Shauna's just a healer is a liar. For years I've been trying to teach people Shauna is the top damage dealer. I don't really want to power through that, but we'll just do it. Can I do a fast edition? Yep. I thought I was on. So just the general gameplay is really tightened up in terms of the transition times. Some things still take a while, like just the Dragoon magic is very long, so things will still take a while sometimes, but in terms of like the loading and stuff, is a lot snappier. So you'll spend less time waiting and more time playing. Are there any fights where enemies target specific characters more or less? Yes, that is correct. So, long story short, minor mobs can attack certain characters more. They have to have the opposite element. So a great example is the marshland. We would often, many of us, perceive that the merman would hit Dart more often, particularly with the spear frost. That's because the merman is water and Dart is fire. So the merman targets Dart like, what is it, 50% more often or something like that. And it's only based on the entity's element. It does not matter what move they're using. So it's not like they're going to try and use water moves. They're just going to use whatever moves they have because of their element, who they are. So if there's an earth enemy and Lavitz is present, they're going to hit Lavitz a little more often. Doesn't matter what ability they use. There's no math for that. It's just purely based on the elements of the entities. Oof. Rapid fire boulder. How did I miss? Oh look, you can select your edition in battle. For those who haven't seen this, we make it possible for you to select your edition if you get tired of using the same one for an entire boss fight, or you accidentally left it on Burning Rush and you're doing crap damage. Change it up. Currently we have it mapped to the triangle button or the Y button for Xbox controllers. Select a different edition, and then it memorizes that until you swap it again. There you go. Isn't the Linus fight like that? No. Bosses do not have a elemental targeting behavior. They have a lot of unique abilities and actions and retaliation things, but it is not based on party elements. There's like none of that. Oh, Lavis is hurting. Sparknet. The Linus fight, I think I did a didn't I showcase that? I feel like I showcased that either in the Prelude stream a week or so ago or before that, showing off an alternate strategy option where I demonstrated the perceived speed up that Linus has when you're in Dragoon form. So you've got like pros and cons of both. If you don't go into Dragoon form, she's a lot slower basically, but you're taking more damage. If you're taking more damage per hit, I should say, because you don't have the Dragoon defenses. Oh, new donation from Miranda's #1 fan. Who is Miranda's #1 fan? Is it Queen Teresa? Click to see. I have a hunch who this is, but I'm not sure. And Kofi never tells me what the amount is. Like, that's really weird. Thank you so much for the donation. Hopefully it's not a large number, so I won't faint. I'll check that in a second. But yeah, so you got two strategies. Strategy number 1, don't use additions. There we go. There we go. Strategy number 1, don't use Dragoons. Dart with Heat Blade, Shauna with Burnouts, you're fine. Just make sure you mitigate that damage with some heals here and there. And it's pretty simple. If you use Dragoon form, it's a lot better if you overlevel your Dragoons a bit, because if you pop out fast, I mean, she'll revert to match you, but I only find Dragoon form is really worth it if you stay in the form for at least like 3 or 4 or 5 turns. Max 5 turns is what I would personally go for. It's overkill, but I was trying to prove a point that I nearly lost the battle. But I did prove the idea of how to beat Linus in Dragoon form. If anyone's struggling, you just automatically bring Albert for the Rose Storm. That's 50% damage reduction at the end of the calculation. Just big cut right away. Recast it after 3 turns. Bringing like slow dart. No, not slow dart. Bringing Shauna special is what I was suggesting, because when Linus is in that like enraged mode while you're in Dragoon form, she switches from water attacks to dark attacks, and you want the dark attacks to not do a crap ton of damage to you. So Shauna's special will cut those dark damages of Dark Mist and Black Rain by a lot. So the dark damage reduction, Albert's Rose Storm, and the Dragoon defense modifiers, that's 3 levels of defense plus Shauna's healing abilities. So you technically can't lose so long as you got enough D levels to sustain. We'll at least head up to Eurobolus. Yeah, Zychronix is working on some AI changes to make the enemies more interesting. Hello, this is Verse. Yes, it is the anniversary today. The Japanese release was on December 2nd, 1999. So this is 25 years. I'm getting a notification about my own event. I better show up. I don't want to be late to my own event. Right? Let's drop that down a little bit. Cool. That's where the auto advanced text was helping me right there. I needed to check something on my phone, and the game kept going. Oh, I should have mentioned, for those who don't know, I'm actually wearing an official Legend of Dragoon shirt from their original merch store. I've rescued 2 of the 3 designs. This one has the dart pattern on the back, and it just has the little LoD logo in front. I only wear it on super special occasions like today. Yeah, 25 years is a long time. If you only Dragoon for a single turn, will Linus enrage? Number 1, you said Linus, and I'm thinking of Linus Tech Tips. Nice little typo there. But I'm not sure if she'll get any procs. I feel like it would have to be checked on Linus's turn, so you might be fine. I just don't remember, because they're all all these bosses behave so differently from one another. Like, I would want to test that against Linus. I would want to test 1-turn D magic against final stage of the final boss to see if that triggers the DBS effect. There's a lot of things worth testing there. Oh, it looks like my Nightbot is working. That's nice. So, however y'all got here, welcome to Dragoon Fest. Nightbot just posted a link to the static page we have on our website for Dragoon Fest. That'll be updated over time with the events that we'll be having throughout all these weeks. We have a podcast coming up and some other things. We have an art event I need to put on there, and I'm going to be putting some of our other special stuff there as well. But it's got some good starter info to just encourage everyone to celebrate, share their memories and their hopes, and we're going to look at the past and the future side by side. For everyone to do that, no matter what social network you use. I think I even, I made a point to mention the GameFAQs message board because I had participated on there in years past, and that's kind of how my start was. It wasn't GameFAQs, it was GameWinners.com. It was one of those other websites that just had a big forum for games and other topics. So they would have a board for Final Fantasy and LoD and all these other games. And I was on the LoD board for Game Winners. And at least 1 or 2 other people from there are still in the fandom today, at least through Discord. One of the OGs. Because back then we didn't have consolidated social media. We just had, if some random people decided to form a company and host a forum and whatever, or make a fan site, that's pretty much all we had access to. You only remember a desert and a bridge. Game-breaking bug on disc 4. We've got the Death Frontier Desert. I don't know about any bugs in there. But the game can be a little unstable sometimes. There's a more common bug with fighting Linus the second time, and if you use Dragoons, for whatever reason, it just makes things have a chance of soft locking. And for whatever reason, if you don't use Dragoons, it doesn't happen. So, weird. Since we're here, hold up. Turn off the auto advanced text. We're actually going to slow it. Well, we don't have to. I'll leave that there. We're going to do one of my favorite things I used to do all the time. We're going to enter the submap debugger. Now, this is just, if you want to goof around, you can do this. I kind of encourage it if you want to get a better look at the 3D models. So there are 3 objects on this map. We've got Zeeg, Claire, and Dart. You got Kid Dart over there. He's got the same exact outfit. So cute. There's little Kid Dart. There's probably Zeeg. And let's say I want to make him larger. Large Zeeg. Let's say I want to rotate him, make him face the camera. There he is. And let's say we want to slide him over to the right. There he is. There is Zeeg. More facial definition than our main cast. How about that? So we'll, it's like she's holding on to his leg. Don't go! You're a giant, but don't go. Yep, there's a better view. And we can also access the animations. Oh, let me move this over. You can access the animations for him as well. So let's say I drop his scale down to 0.1. Make him really tiny. Get an extra copy of Zeeg over there. And you can see I'm activating all the different animations he has on this particular map. Some of the animations are borked. Here he's talking. He's got the hug hold, hug release, the I'm going in there. And some of them are borked, but that's fine. So you can tinker with this if you want. You just hit F12 for the debugger, pull up the submap debugger, and mess around. And outside of these cutscenes, whenever you leave a map and come back, everything resets to normal. So you can't really break anything permanently. Family photo session. I've made some custom scenes. I might pull a few of those up where there's the part where you meet Fa, who doesn't want to talk because Teo is gone in Fernie, and Shauna tries to reassure Fa and is kneeling down and everything and talking to her like a little, because Fa's just a little kid, right? So you go get down to their level. I moved Fa out of the scene and I instead made Albert really tiny, and I have so many pictures. If I don't share those tonight, I'll have to share them again sometime. Yes, Martell with the large kitchen knife while comforting her child with a knife in her hand. It's really weird. Really, really weird. And see Chocolate and Pony Bro are in unison with the embiggening prediction. We'll speed through this a little bit. How fast can we go? Super fast. Super, super fast. Look at how fast we're going. Woo! Woo! How fast can we cut down this tree? Bam, bam, bam. And it's gone. I get way too much joy out of that. And then it comes back. Bam, 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 bam. Woo! You can't have this much fun on an emulator. We need a racing minigame. I like racing games, and my thirst is not quenched. I need some kind of racing element. Give me the Piggy races in Lohan or something. Slide. A longer version of this slide would be nice. Just water sliding with Dart, Lavis, and Shauna in the cave. Ah, shoot. That looks like something. So next thing I'm going to do is slow this down here. Slow it down, slow it down, slow it down. I'm so sorry, BMP. I read that as you decommissioned a Shauna figurine, and I'm like, why are you decommissioning it? Who's my favorite member of the group? I like them all. I like them all for different reasons. I dislike them for different reasons. Technically, if I could choose one, it's Rose, but it's an unfair choice because Rose is one of the only characters that's deeply fleshed out. If the other characters were properly fleshed out, I might choose them as well. So it's kind of a stuck thing. Yeah, task stuff will probably be done through Severed Chains quite a bit. I do want a boat racing game. We already have DDR in LoD. For those of you who don't know, we're gonna pause for a second. We're gonna literally pause the game. You got it? That's frozen right now. You know why it's frozen? I'm gonna prove it to you. Frame advance. 1 frame at a time. Let's see you do that with an emulator, huh? Seriously though, we did DDR and it was an April Fool's joke, but like the trick was it wasn't actually a joke. We actually released it, and some people have played it and enjoyed it, and it actually works with guitar controllers and dance pads, and I showcased both plus keyboard use. So anybody out there who happened to have experience with Guitar Hero and DDR and Flash Revolution or Step Mania, that's your golden trifecta. You can play it any way you want. You could probably also just use a gamepad. I want to get a drum set working. I have not been successful yet, but that will probably be doable in the future. But then again, I've also played LoD with all kinds of peripherals, like a flight stick, like an actual flight joystick. It's not the most intuitive, but it was fun to do it. That was the thing. But what am I looking to do here? I'm looking for my other browser window. Here it is. Left on Severed Chains. DDR. Let's just go to our page real quick. If you enjoy the stuff we do, by the way, like and subscribe. If you want to see everything we do, tick the bell thing to get every notification possible. I think it's a pretty cool channel. All the community stuff we do together is leagues beyond what many fandoms are able to do because their fandoms are just so much smaller. It's understandable, but we are very lucky to have so many wonderful people making awesome stuff. Whether it's Severed Chains or translation stuff to get extra details, fan art stuff, and it's just coming out the wazoo here. So let me show you the April Fool's thing we did. Well, I'm gonna actually mute the game for a second. Let me do that, and then do that.
A world first brand.
We don't need to hear that. Oop.
Presenting.
So basically, it's a basic DDR interface. You got the 4 arrows. I'll full screen that. You got Maru reacting to the different arrows being pressed. So she's got 4 different animations being used. And if I get off the screen, that's me on the arrow keys over there. My fingers are smaller than they used to be. Or I used to be a giant, one of the two. So you would press the keys in time with the arrows overlapping. You can have different difficulties for the songs. And then I also showed some footage of me on a Guitar Hero guitar and with a dance pad, which was super fun, I have to admit. I wasn't perfect at doing the dance pad because it was brand new at the time. I had just got it, but it was so fun. This is actually playable. It requires a special build, but we have instructions on our website. We do some weird stuff, but it is also super fun. So, just FYI, we have a good time. And back to the game, where we unmute that sound. And here we are, just like that. We'll go back to the auto advanced text. And speed up a little bit, because we're going to fight Ouroboros, which is supposed to be called Ouroboros. I never knew that growing up, so I got attached to the bad spelling, Ouroboros. It makes it sound a little unique to me looking back. So I don't even choose Ouroboros, despite knowing what it is now. Grab a few items. That's a burnout. You can just, if you're really paying attention, you can barely see what the item is. Let's chase down this sly one. Come here. I think I did this once before, but let's see. Okay. Let's see you do this. Ah, there we go. Didn't take me too long. Last time it took me quite a bit longer. Wait, can I do it again? Okay. Oh, come on. I'm gonna get you. Gonna get you. We need some high score leaderboards for this so we can fight each other for the best time. Yeah. Come here. Come here. Oh, I was so close. Oh, come on. Oh. This is really tough. Come on. No. I have way too much fun with that. Excuse me. Alright. That was fun. Oh. I want to show another thing. Audio. What happens when you set the audio to 0? For now, there's only one volume slider. It's just for the music. There'll be more later. The idea is to let you customize, fine-tune it how you like it for voiceover, ambience, all that kind of stuff. For now, doing this, setting it to 0, the music, makes it so you can hear the ambience just by itself. So here we've got some water. More water. Here we've got like the cave echo, if you will. And of course the frog thing. Oh, the frog has a name, by the way. The frog is called Pulley. Pulley or something like that. Revealed in the Japanese guidebook. I think Manslapper found that like 3 or 4 months ago, something like that. Here we have the same cave echo sound, but now we've also got water drops. So scene to scene, we got these subtle little effects that can easily get drowned out by the music track. So sometimes I like to play just like this. Also where the steps are actually going to have sound. Alright, check equipment. We got a bastard sword. We've got a bandana. Night shield, poison guard. That is already pretty strong, so fine. Slowing it down. Immersion! Urgh. Benny Hill energy. I barely know who Benny Hill is. I might need some context. Oh, I left the music off. My bad. Alright, so we got a spark net. We got a couple burnouts. Go for it, Shauna. We got the rumble going. It's not just to hear the ambience better. You can also hear the attention to detail on the sound effects and the voiceovers for the attacks, the Dragoon magic, the item magic, all that stuff. Volcano! Oh. He gets really into it. That's my thingy. Are the screams not part of the music? What screams? Screams. I'm thinking of Helena Prison when you say screams, but if you mean the like Eurobolist stuff, yeah, those are all different tracks, basically different layers of sound being played. Sparky Net. Benny Hill was a British comedian who passed away years ago. Had these chase segments on his show. A certain musical track would play each time they started. I should Google it. I used to watch Mr. Bean stuff quite a bit. Partly because there was a Mr. Bean skit with the dentist, and the person who played the dentist was the person who played Gaius in the Merlin BBC TV show, and I really loved his acting, his character so much. And then I found him as the dentist with like the mega short hair, and I was like, oh, it's him! Of course, playing a medical role in both things to some extent. We got one more Burnout. The Screams and Helena, yeah. Screams and Helena are separate. Oof. I feel like it would... The head biting should be an instant kill, right? It's your head gets bit off. Would an Ouroboros actually bother to, after it's captured your head in its mouth, would it bother to let you go? Is it just gonna lick you and like paralyze damage or something? Is it just gonna like do a little pinprick to get like a blood sugar test out of you? No, it's gonna rip your head off. Why isn't it an insta kill? That should be... We need a lethal mod. It's just almost every attack is lethal. I know other games do that. Miss! It's too high to hit. I love that animation, just flailing the whole body. Whoosh! Shauna the Champ. The only one who can hit high targets with the main attack. I really needed one more item magic. I mean, I could try the detonate rock, but it's pretty weak. Oops. We're so close. Might as well. I wish that the detonate rock needs a freaking overhaul. They bothered to have this cool effect, and then... What was that, like 1 HP? 1? That's 1 pixel of red. One pixel wide. Come on. Little hearts in the animation. There we go. So I guess we'll do the cutscene. Widescreen cutscenes, you're welcome. Widescreen cutscenes, thanks to Monoxide and the rest of the SC dev team. Look at how gorgeous this looks. Super sharp. And imagine once we can replace the battlefields and replace the character models, this will all be like completely HD. Listen to those sounds. Look at all those facial expressions. Here, let's just pause here and make this like a 1 hour ambient mix of the limestone cave. I'm going to be making stuff like that, by the way. Another thing, if you aren't familiar, free cam. You can look around at things. Something is wrong with Shauna's body. Okay, from here it looks fine. Here it does not look fine. What's happening? It's like orthographic. I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, this is a wallpaper right here. Lavitz. Lavitz, you're looking the wrong way, Lavitz. She's over there. You're looking over there. Lavitz, you're ruining my immersion, buddy. Buddy. There's nothing over there. So for those who don't know, the battlefields are really small. They're only really meant for the battle itself, but they reuse the battlefields to create the cinematics afterward. So since there's one here, there's one with the Divine Dragon, they have to creatively reuse the scene with limited space. So at different points, the snake will be over here, the snake will be over here, the snake will be over there. The characters jump around. Like every time the camera cuts, things move, pretty much. Like let's see here. It might be too late, but let me get out of mouse look. And then if we look around again. Okay, they're still in the same. It was too late. That's fine. It's too late. Anyway, so things you can do with severed chains. Boom, boom. So there you have it. Cool stuff. I'm gonna check the Q&A thing. Let's catch up on those questions. Yunja asks, what is my LoD story? What about the game made me a fan? Can I give a quick summary of how I came to be where I am now? That'll end up having to be covered as part of our festival because I'm part of what made things grow, so you'll hear my story through that. Long story short, I accidentally came across it at a demo station. I had already, you know, my mother or my parents would take me to a Target or Toys R Us even would have demo stations sometimes, and you'd often have to crane your neck looking up at the TV way up there. And one time it was LoD. And apparently I liked it because it showed up in the house and it was a gift. So that was the best gift I ever got, probably. It changed my whole life. Truly. What made me a fan? I mean, I guess just what they were going for in general. The immersion, the fantasy, the real... Fantasy plus realism is really weird, but they did a little bit of both with LoD. The dragon stuff. I had already seen some mech games, and that was cool. You know, robots. But I haven't seen much with humans x organic stuff, so like organic armor. So that really intrigued me, and I wasn't even like a dragon person as a kid. There were people who were specifically like into dragons. I was not necessarily into dragons, but it drew me in anyway. So I don't fully understand why, but the game just sucked me in, and there was just something about it. Something about this particular game that other games didn't happen to capture from me. And plus the unique position of happening to play Tekken 2 just before LoD, so I was already used to combo attacks that had no guides, and so for me LoD was a dream because I actually could like measure out my timings as a kid. With Tekken, they don't really give you that. They give you, here's the combo, you can push like the select button and it'll play out the whole combo for you in training mode, but if you try to push the button at the same rate they tell you, it's too slow, the combo doesn't string together, it's just individual attacks. You have to press them faster, and so the tutorial sucked. With LoD, at least I got guides to work with, and so this is cake. And so those are some initial thoughts that I have on that. Are the plans to make Dragoon forms more interesting? Short answer, yes. So the SC dev team, what they do, Monoxide, Flying Zambonis, Icronics, etc., their thing is to focus on the core stuff and the modding API. So the core stuff, the core improvements are bug fixes, additional features, things that almost everyone will use, like true widescreen in battle. That's why it's not a separate downloadable mod. Some things are just supposed to be part of the core. That just comes with separate chains. Then there's the modding API, which is creating the framework for general users to make their own mods. And we might provide some kind of a prototype to give an example of what you can do with it, so people are enticed to actually use the API. For example, Monoxide showed a little bit of LoD being in the party, where you could use LoD to walk around on the world map as his armored form with the Dragon Buster, just running around the map, and then also summoning him as a member of the party in battle. So I think they changed Miranda's Dragoon transformation to just turn into LoD instead. So showcasing things like that, prototyping, that's what the SD dev team does, and then it's up to modders to make specific stuff. So for example, some people might just add a few more spells for Dart, and you download that mod. Some people might add one more spell for every Dragoon, and you download that mod, and they'll usually play well with each other. The only time mods won't be compatible is if they edit literally the same thing. So if two different mods edit the stats of the Bastard Sword, you can't have both. That's like the only thing. But whatever people decide to make, you'll be able to plug it in and try it out. I anticipate there's going to be just a crap ton of mods in general, whether it's new additions, new items, new character models, new bosses, new minor mobs, new dungeons to run around in, new game modes, like I showed you the DDR thing. We're going to try and do boss rush at some point where it's just bosses, kind of like in Golden Sun. They have that boss only post-game kind of content, just to see how far you get. We're going to do multiplayer co-op and PvP. It'll be up to modders to do specific implementations of that, but we'll create something basic to get people running off the ground. It's going to be pretty exciting, I think. Ever found anything cool out of bounds in the game? Oh yeah. Generally speaking, if we look at a general definition of out of bounds, things that you're not supposed to notice, things that are unused or look like beta content, there's various little things like that. So for example, there are some locations that you walk around in, just like Limestone Cave here, where there are like blocked off paths that you can't normally access, and they have a secret warp to another map. The warps, let me show you what those are. If we go to the submap debugger, activate collision. So here's a collision map. I don't know what those red dots are. That's Icronics. Do we know about the red dots? What the hell is this? I don't remember this at all. Okay, that's weird. What are the red dots? This is really weird. I didn't know I would be revealing this, but I'm revealing this. I don't know what it is. Okay, so let's do free cam again. It's going to be annoying, but here we are. Now there's some foreground elements to get past. We'll try to dodge those. Okay, so the blue is the polygon we're walking on. Let me unfreeze that. The blue is what we're walking on. The green will take you to another map. There are some areas where there's paths that you have to like manually move Dart to get onto those like walking ledges. And there's either nothing there, or it's for some NPCs, which is normal. They need a spot where they can walk. Other times there's like a sealed off warp thingy, and it usually messes up the game because it just warps you back to like behind Celeste, where you get stuck. So those are either unused or canceled things that they were considering before and then locked them off for whatever reason, decided to go with a different plan or a different route or whatever the case may be. There's all kinds of little stuff like that that you can find if you're very perceptive or just like to explore things. Rose and Shauna are your faves. Cool, that sounds good to me. They actually have a nice moment where they can get along. You can miss the scene, but if you intentionally lose to one of the competitors in a hero arena, Shauna says something that makes Rose have a much better impression of her or opinion of her, and I always thought that was cool. Heading back to the regular chat, I'm gonna end the Q&A thing. Thank you for leaving your questions there, but I think we'll just leave it all in all of it in the main chat for now. So yeah, I want to talk about the dragon translation thing. Okay, the red dots are still here, and the red dots love to be on this structure. Is it on every map? Let's quickly check that out. Okay, the red dots are everywhere. The little red lines on every map? I've never seen that before. Okay, the red lines here are based on the walking area. But everywhere else they look funky. Oh. So now they're staying on the walking path. So they were like unglued from the walking path and then they re-glued when I went to... Pulley fixed it. Pulley the frog thing fixed the red dots. Thanks, little creature, for fixing that for us. That was really weird. Oh, if you want to just goof around as well, you can warp between different maps in severed chains. So, for example, let's say I want to go to map 88 miles an hour. Hey, we're suddenly in Bale. I almost forgot what it's called. Let me move this over here. Let's say I want to go to map 144. Now we're in Lohan. Map number 222. And now we're in the Twin Castle, and we've triggered a cutscene. That's probably going to mess up my save file. That's fine. Map number 277. We're on the Queen Fury as Shauna. You're not supposed to be here yet. Shauna, what are you doing in here? It's too early in the game for you to show up. A pillow fight? I'm busy. I need to get back to disc 1. Also, thing about the mysterious locker. There's something going on there. You know what? I want to take a look at that because I don't feel like I've ever checked the collision. Let me see here. Do F11. Also, my hotkeys are messed up. Let me see here. Did you know there's a little engine tick in the background? That's kind of cool. Yep. Found it, found it, found it. So there's a lot of little secret platforms here. This is kind of how it is. All right, so let's say I want to try and get on that little platform. I want to get down there. No, I want to get there. Okay. So how can we get over there? Let's say 22. Nope. Back to 0. 66. Let's say 51 to 33. Nope. Say 88. A little more. 122. We're so close. We're so close. 66. No. 33. 44. We're in the closet. We're in the closet. There was supposed to be something in there. I swear to God. Yep, we got the WoW text. God, I wish I knew. I wish I knew. There's a little square in there. Oh well. Where else can we go? We can go all the way to the end of the game if we wanted to. 333. What's on 333? Back to Dart, and we're in Fernie, I want to say. 377. That's black. 411. And crash. So that, you can cause a crash if you go to a submap that doesn't work. Maru's underwear. I don't think so. All right. So anyway, that's Severed Chains. If you haven't tried it before, please give it a try. You'll need your own game discs. We don't provide the assets for legal reasons, but you can try out the dev build. We've got Windows, Mac, multiple Mac builds, Linux, Steam Deck, even an ARM build if you really want it. But you would, unless you have ARM, don't do that. We've got the project summary, some useful links, gallery. We're going to update the gallery. And all this feature info stuff will be replaced with the new information once we're close to releasing RB3. We've got a roadmap for 4 and 5, frequently asked questions, and there's all kinds of other projects on our website. We have a news feed, legenddragoon.org. If you haven't heard of that before, now you know. It's basically our centralized home that doesn't rely on any specific social media. We do all our own curation of projects and things and work together on fun stuff. So, thank you for the crash thing, Pony Bro. So from here, I wanted to focus on something particular. My phone is making the save point sound. My phone is still making the save point sound. What I'm going to do is receive more notifications. And apparently my posts are actually working. So what we're gonna do is do that, and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna change camera to the second cam, secondary camera. Oh, that's the wrong device. That is also the wrong device. There we are. Let me make this... Oh, dear. Hold on a sec. Sorry. Hold up. Okay. Ooh. Hold on. Yeah. Like I said, I didn't have enough time to prepare, so some things are not totally ready yet. You know what? Maybe I'll just use the other camera. Can I just do that? I think I'll just do that. Okay, let me do this, and we'll disable the green screen for now. And we're just gonna put the new camera, the new Elgato camera, over here. How am I gonna do this? I need a studio, y'all. Might be good enough. Alright, so what am I going to show you? Well, lately I've been making a number of purchases for the benefit of the fandom. So I thought, why not share that with you all as I delicately balance these things. There we are. I've got a number of magazines. Now you're probably wondering, Drew, why does this matter? Why are we looking at magazines? Well, I'm going to tell you. I think I showed these a little bit in the Prelude stream, but we're going to go a little further. We'll put on some gloves, because archivism. Yeah, those saves are throwaways. No problem, Pony Bro. I'm good. So, magazines. I bought a large stack of magazines. Special thanks to Sadikyo. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I've been in contact with this person a while. I don't know if I've ever asked how to pronounce their name. That's wonderful. Sadikyo helped me acquire a number of magazines from Japan. A lot of it is stuff that has no bearing on us whatsoever, but it has stuff that we do care about. What does that mean? Well, it's got Legend of Dragoon stuff in it. And in some cases, the cover is Legend of Dragoon. And I noticed that with these magazines, they also have the art. It's really small, but the main art without all the text on top of it, which is a pretty awesome drawing if you ask me. They had their mascot going Dragoon. And so I've got some tabs to show all the places where LoD is mentioned in each of these magazines. Now, if you ever had a magazine, you're from North America, you might have read Game Informer, Game Pro, Electronic Gaming Monthly, or some of the ones I read growing up. And it'll be either a preview or a review most of the time. There might occasionally be some special information, but it was pretty few and far between. So in some of these magazines, it is going to be common information, common pictures. I've found very few exclusive pictures, as a matter of fact. But not all of them are just walkthroughs. Like, there's a lot more potential for insider information. That might just be because the game was made in Japan, but in any event, this is a nice little half page covering a few quick things about the game. And then going further back, we have a much larger section with some various stats and things. This has all of Dart's additions and what level the additions are unlocked with SP and damage values. It tells you, I believe, which strikes can be countered as well. So that's going to be Volcano. It only can be countered in the middle. Burning Rush can't be countered. Crush Stance, the 2 middle strikes. Madness Hero. Wait a minute. Let's translate that, because something doesn't look right about that. Double check my work. I know I'm close. I'm onto something there. Let's take a look. What do we have here? Yeah, okay. So that is Madness Hero, then Moonstrike, and then Blazing Dynamo. So some of the additions can't even be countered. It's got enemy data, which we'll be cross-referencing with the Japanese guidebook to make sure they're the same. We've got some info for Lavitz over here, and they've got the character renders. They've got in-engine cutouts. We'll be scanning some of these if we don't have them already. They've got shop stuff. So some of this is like a really detailed walkthrough, which is pretty cool. But they also will include special things. For example, this is like a... This is weird because this is like a two-sided poster. It's got a world map and like a progression thing on it. And some character renders. And on the other side, it's got the tiers of dragons, the 7 tiers. A couple dragon pictures. It's got like status countering, just some little utility resource info. But the front, the front of it, so it's got like a poster here, a 2-page poster on this end, and then here, this very long poster. It's very long. I need to get this framed. So I have to debind this and get rid of that staple. So why am I looking through all these magazines? Why am I looking through all of these? Why do I care? Well, it's for the little nuggets that you find in between. You sift through and you wade through all of the review content, all of the preview content, because even in a mundane review where they give the game a bad score, there can be a exclusive piece of art not found anywhere else in any other magazine ever, so far as we know. And that actually happened. I'll be covering that in the future. But for now, I wanted to flip through some of these with you, and I'm also going to check with my people and see if that package has arrived, because that has the extra juicy stuff in it. Here's another one. We've got... whoa. Looks like a little bit of walkthrough stuff for Helena Prison. But then on this side, they jump around and they just cover species stuff. So let me show you the rough of what that says. They got Winglies, Menintos, Gigantos. What's it say about the Menintos? Menintos, born from the 99th fruit of the sacred tree, averaging about 1 meter in height. So this is something that we thought was only shown in the Japanese guidebook, but it's also mentioned in this magazine. A demi-human with long ears, said to have a human-level intelligence, plays an important role in Dart and Friends' adventure. We got some Giganto stuff. We got the Linus Wingley stuff. So, looking through these magazines, sometimes you find the rarest knowledge. Here, it's not so much rare knowledge as it is rare imagery, because some of these images are obviously so crystal clear that these are render stills from the FMV. If you watch the FMVs in-game, they don't look as good as this. No way. Like, a scan of this will look way better than a still from the game, because it's got these JPEG artifacts like baked into the film. So we got some really good render stills here. Some static renders that were also provided in the press kit. They tease LoD. Got some Divine Tree stuff going on, and some walkthrough or just preview stuff here. Let me quickly check in with my people. Let me check the... Has it been delivered? Let me see. And if you have any more questions, feel free to ask. I'm just touring these magazines with y'all for a little bit. There we are. There is some juicy stuff in here. We'll get there. So we've got some various screenshots, a couple render stills, speculation. Not too much to it there. We'll have to actually translate that with our volunteer translators, thanks to people like Shar and Manslapper, who have been super helpful over the last year. Char's been with us a lot longer, but Manslapper showed up more recently. And like I said, was the one who found the pulley reference for that frog-like thing. Probably just use the tab. That's what it's for, Drew. Come on. Okay, so this one, it just has the cover. Now, this cover is important. When you look at this cover, you see the Famitsu mascot in Dragoon form, looking similar to the other one. And there's like a purple background. And it's easy to miss. But if you look at the structure, this is actually Cadessa. They redrew Cadessa. If I can get this close here. Can you see that? That's Cadessa. Those are Virage up there. They drew those, like the people at the magazine. Not bad. Alright, we've got another section over here. This has a lot of large FMV stills. We're going to probably try and scan these to preserve them as best we can. They have a mention of it appearing at Tokyo Game Show, that should be. Yeah. All these stations and everything. Like, I wish I was there. There's also a nice shot of one of the Dragoons here. Very crisp quality. This is a high motion scene, so we get like a really crappy still frame of this. But this is an even better depiction. It kind of looks like the spear is not... It looks like it's a spear and it's not being held. It's like being dropped or thrown or something. Could be a low quality animation thing because it moves so fast, but that's interesting. Excellent still of the dragon. Excellent still of Miranda. And also this has something new. In here is an interview. Now, a couple of the interviews in these magazines may already be covered, but are still in danger of being lost, so we're going to retranslate them anyway and put them on our website. For example, there's an old interview from RPGfan.com. That link is like old and it's in another spot, so we're going to be redoing that one, whether it's this or another one, to make sure that that interview is preserved. And that's part of this work, is we're going to be debuting a whole new section on the website for interviews. I hope to have that up this week. And it's going to have some of the well-known interviews. It's going to reference interviews that are still live. So, for example, Stephanie Miner's recent interviews with David Babich and Dennis Martin. We'll just link out to those. But we're going to have a full comprehensive list of all the interviews that we can find. So you can have all the information about, like, what they talked about, whether they were planning on a sequel or not, and what was the process for developing the game. Sometimes with really intimate details. We've got these still images here. Those are probably too tiny to make anything out, but it looks like there's these long printouts that have a series of slides on them. And this has a screenshot of a different style for the editions. There's a circle instead of a rectangle. We gotta translate that to make sure if that's a official beta shot or not. So lots of different nuggets in here that we have to check for. This one, really large renders being used. So the Dart render, the Shauna render, the Rose render, screenshots in many varying sizes, and lots of text overlap. There's a lot of stuff to look at here. I have no idea what any of this says, and it will take a long time to translate, but we will figure it out. Very large Lloyd head, and apparently they continue it next time, so this might be... Well, what is next time anyway? What does next time look like in this case? In the next issue, we'll interview In the next interview, we will talk to the development staff who created this artistic RPG. We will also introduce the latest information on the battle system. So they're going to look at battle and talk to more staff. So that's pretty cool. I need to find the next issue if I don't already have that one. Excuse me. Let's look at another one as I get a drink. Yeah, sure, you're going to love these scans. I don't know that I'm going to debind them all because there's just so much content in here that I want to be careful with. Like, I feel like I should donate these magazines to groups that don't have them already scanned in yet, like perhaps Retro Mags or something. But all that planning will have to come in 2025, one way or the other. Let me see. This was just in the back. This one's juicy. Why is this one juicy? It's got that rare image for some reason that I have yet to find the context for this image. Dart's armor looks different. It looks mega HD. This is a render of the Black Castle. It looks like Albert and possibly Rose or someone else over there. It's pretty nuts. Pretty freaking nuts if you ask me. Why does Dart have a laser sword? Is the question. We gotta figure that out. They cover the dragon tears again. Talk a little bit about Dragoon magic, and it's just a 2-page thing. But that's gonna be something to look at. So this is kind of a 2-part process. Part 1, document every magazine that LoD is mentioned in, North America or otherwise. And then, like, in a spreadsheet, which I've already got set up, I mention for each magazine, is it a review? Is it a preview? Are there any special materials that are not common? Because one of my biggest missions has always been to get rare information normalized for the fandom. So this is a little bit longer. I feel like this is a walkthrough. Yeah, part of this is walkthrough stuff. But even in the regular walkthroughs, you can see there's some really interesting images. They bothered to provide cutout images of Frugal, Rodriguez, and Gooftus, and they're in specific lighting. Gooftus looks a lot darker in the game. Even Giongo here. Congo in the middle of an attack animation. Dole with his swords up. Dole with, like, purple energy around his swords. They bothered to include that as part of the cutout. I find that pretty interesting. Now, 99% of the screenshots you're going to recognize. There's not going to really be any secrets usually in regard to the screenshots or the FMVs, but we will be checking to make sure everything's consistent and that there aren't any, like, you know, shots that look a little different for some reason, like it was a non-final image or something. We got some ADDI data for possibly Maru. Not entirely sure though, because there's only 4 boxes there. Barrage cutout, value of corrupted gravity, walkthrough probably. Lots of equipment or something. Yeah, so the idea is just to piece all this stuff together and eventually have a completely comprehensive list with almost no magazines missing. And with any luck, my other package will arrive. It is not here yet. It says it'll be here by 9 p.m. It's 9:04. So either they're late or it's already here. What is on this one? This looks like it might be a walkthrough. They call it flowchart. Yeah, this is a walkthrough. Section 7 it says. So you're going through Fueno basically. And then you got the undersea cavern, prison island, Regol cutout. Looks normal. Screenshot of Linus's face. Got the end of disc 2 stuff. Enemy data up across the top. Some nice shots of the submaps. I'm wondering if these are shots with or without the overlay effects like sun rays and things. One of the biggest, and just like that, one of the biggest displays of the Maru render that I've ever seen. I have never found a render like an actual digital render file of Maru in Dragoon form. Only the scan of the render. Let me just be really clear. A scan of the render just doesn't compare to the render itself. For whatever reason, certain things were in press kits and certain things weren't. They were only ever given to journalists, perhaps, but I'll always be on the lookout for those. And then disc 3 starts, and then it goes into another game. So yeah, as you can see, it depends. A lot of time you're going to run into stuff that you've already seen before, so it can feel boring or arduous, but in between there are some really cool little details, and sometimes you get extra lucky. This is a large poster I need to preserve somehow. I'll be very careful with this one. This is a large printout of Fernie at night. It's in decent shape, but not stellar. It's the best one I could find. And then these are the pages I had from the CG World article coverage. This coverage is apparently in 2 magazines, not just the one that I found. They reprinted it for a later issue, apparently, because it was so good. You have... this is a shot of one of the Dragoon torsos and the materials they were using to color it. This is the grayscale version of that. The commander in polygon form, using the different software to make it all happen. The flat textures that wrap around the 3D model. Various FMV still frames along the side. That mysterious dart image again. And lots of storyboards. I went over these before. One of them is particularly interesting because it looks like Zieg is still in Dragoon form when he gets petrified, which either indicates it was just, you know, a rough thing before they realized, oh, we have to make him like de-transform, or perhaps the story was going to change at some point. We've got all the wireframes for the commander and the Sandora soldiers, basically. Their walking positions. There's a lot of them on this screen here. And so that's basically a look at the software usage behind the scenes with a lot of juicy stuff in between. Now, I covered that article a number of years ago, but we'll be diving more into that soon because I'm targeting additional CG World articles, different magazines, to be as thorough as I can. I also have a mystery magazine called Designplex. I have no idea what's in there, but apparently LoD is involved, so I have to check. And that is in the package that should be arriving anytime. Hold on a sec, I'm going to yell at my roommates. Well, I don't think they can hear me right now, but that's okay. Instead, my cat is here to say hello. Say hi, pretty. Oh, you're a little close. Say hi. Hello. Alright, so I'm going to change this to the cat cam area, I guess. So give me a sec to get her bed, and then we'll continue. Hold on. You're okay. Hold on. Oh. Oof. Oof. No, don't go there. Pretty. Oof. Okay. Well, now she is behind my setup and will not use the bed. Lovely. She had Pretty, come on. Pretty. Come here. Pretty. Hi. Yeah, I got your bed out. No, no, not safe. Not safe. Just come over here. There you go. So this is my cat, Pretty. She came here as a boarder that was staying with us, but then the owners for some reason just left her here, and it took us almost a year to get proper possession, and just decided to adopt her because they were not very communicative. Who would not keep this cat? She ended up choosing me, and so I have a cat now. It's been a couple years. Now, according to my delivery thing, the package is not quite here yet, but it should be here anytime, so I'm going to try and hold on a little bit. But you can enjoy the cat cam for the moment as I catch up with chat. It's been great seeing so many new people come by, as well as all of our regulars. Yep, you gotta get that bed ready so you can curl up into a ball. Okay, I feel like I'm mostly caught up with chat now. Alright, so if y'all have any more questions, feel free to throw them at me. I'm gonna take a breather here. I might try to do an ad break. Let's see, how do I do that? Yeah, I think I'm going to take like 3 or 4 minutes. I've never done a manual ad break before, so we'll see how this goes. But I'll be back pretty shortly, a little bit refreshed, and we will continue talking about some things. We'll be talking about the future a little bit. Oh no, you left the bed. Oof. Okay. Alright, I am back. Hopefully the ad thing worked out okay. I don't know how that works. I thought I could just set a duration, but it just did it by itself. So maybe it was only like 15 seconds long, I have no idea. Anyway, let's turn on the thingy again. The green screen thingy. And do that, roughly. Got a few cookies. I don't even know what they are exactly. They taste pretty good. All right. Yeah, the regular PS1 release is still pretty affordable. It's well worth it. Get a copy, back up your copy so you always have it. Even if the discs get damaged, you'll have that digital backup. And you use that digital backup for severed chains, which is how we stay in the legal clear as much as possible. There are some groups that reverse engineer and then provide the assets. You really don't want to get involved in that. That's what causes them to get shut down sometimes. We don't need to do that. We try to keep it as hassle-free as possible though. So for example, unlike emulation, you don't need a BIOS file. That requirement was removed very early in severed chains of development. What a nice thing to not have to legally dump the BIOS file from a PlayStation. Hello there, welcome to the stream. Curtis, you gonna come back? Oh, 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 my cat. Want to say hi to the peoples? Say hello. Ooh, okay, there you go. Alright, so we played a little Severed Chains, showed off a few of its features. I demonstrated the many magazines I have purchased, and there are still more on the way. I'm going to stream a little longer just in case they show up, because there's potentially some never before in there. You know what I mean? Never before seen stuff. Talking is hard. Talking is so hard. I meant what I enunciated or failed to enunciate. Wondering if I could explain Dragon Eyes and the whole hierarchy. Yes, so I've talked about this so many times over the years. I never get tired of talking about it because it's just an interesting piece of lore that I wish there was a little more info about. The LoD is a weird game. Like, the lore and the combat don't have to match up perfectly. I get it. It's hard. But there are so many inconsistencies. So, a fact about dragons. Let me put the mic in a better position here. Fact about dragons. You've got dragons with one eye up to dragons with 7 eyes. Presumably, the number of eyes a dragon is born with is how many they have forever, but we don't know if that counts with babies as well. Like, are all babies 1 eye and then they get more later, or is it all preset when they start? But it's kind of hard to tell. We do know that the eye count determines the estimated amount of destructive power that they have, or just magical power in general. So a 1-eye dragon is going to do almost nothing. 2-eye dragon going to do almost nothing. A 3 or 4-eye dragon is pretty powerful, like if you saw Fairbrand roughing up Dart. Don't want to mess around with that as a regular human. Can completely change the tide of war for regular soldiers and stuff who just will not be able to overcome it. Then you've got Ragul at 4 eyes, even stronger. Michael at 5 eyes, mega strong. I feel like Michael was, excuse me, an exception because Michael had the exoskeletal armor, which seems rare among dragons, and was just bossing around shredding Virage like crazy. Like, Michael should have been a 6i in my opinion, but whatever. All of the Dragoon Spirit dragons, so the dragons that died to make the main 7 Dragoon Spirits you use. The Red-Eyed Stone, the Jade Stone, the White Silver Stone, the Blue Sea Stone, the Golden Stone. All of those are from 6i dragons, which means they are some of the most powerful dragons of their element. Only outdone by the Divine Dragon with 7 eyes. So basically, eye count determines power, and then it also determines the command hierarchy. Supposedly, this command hierarchy is followed just with dragons themselves, but in terms of how specific the lore is, they only really talk about Dragoons commanding dragons. So to get a vassal dragon, like say Michael, you need to match the element, and you need to have 1 more eye count on your Dragoon Stone. So Rose has a 6-eye Dragoon Stone, the Dragoon Spirit, can command dark-based dragons at 5 eyes or less. If we talk about, say, Maru, she's also got the 6-eye Water Dragoon Spirit, could command a 5-eye or lower dragon of the water element. That's why Linus can control Regol, that's why Graham can control Firebrand, and that's it. So that's how the hierarchy works. Your power and strength determines who you do or don't answer to, basically. At least in terms of dragoons commanding vassal dragons. It may be between dragons as well, because they talk about the Divine Dragon being the king of dragons and being untamable and all this stuff, because there's no greater part of the hierarchy. But there's also a problem with the hierarchy, because I'm only machine translating, but it looks like it's really bad. Shar can help me confirm. Now, I think we've already tried to translate the dragon ranks. Let me check that out. Let me check this out. Excuse me. Dragon ranks. Yeah, that's in my history. Yeah, this is very incomplete. We need to update this. Shar and Manslapper, if you're in the chat, we got to update this. But so there's a name for the tribe of dragon. So every eye level has a name for its class or its tribe. You have at the 7 eye level God Dragon King, or Divine Dragon King, and that's kind of consistent because he's called the King of Dragons, the Divine Dragon. Okay, fine, fair enough. But it's weird when it's the class name and the name of the dragon specifically, because there's a second dragon with 7 eyes that the Divine Dragon fought and won against, but it doesn't have a name given at all. It lost, and that's all we know. It lost to the Divine Dragon. Was it also called Divine Dragon? That would be confusing, you know? So they didn't quite think these through as well as they could have. Because at the 6 eye level, at least the chart I was reading from a magazine, one of those magazines I just showed you, you have Divine Dragon King for 7 eyes, which is Divine Dragon. But then rank 6 also seems to be called Divine Dragon. But the Divine Dragon is 7 eye, and all the 6-eyed Dragoon spirits would be weird to call them all Divine Dragons. Their naming scheme needs revision, in my opinion. But of course, I am not a fluent translator. That'll be up to Shar and Manslapper to verify for me. It's Drin Pixel to Shar, they understand. So there's a lot of potential. It just wasn't really fleshed out, and we're lucky we even got that info in the first place, because a lot of games you're not going to get that like edge case lore in the first place. We just got really lucky with a super thorough Japanese guidebook that is almost completely accurate compared to the very small and often inaccurate Prima guide. A lot of games may not make enough sales to even warrant having such a large walkthrough. I purred. Hi. Yep, lick my nose. Let's see here. Lurking and listening to the menu music, that's always fun. If you've got any other questions, throw them at me. I gotta remember what I was gonna do with the remainder of the time. Let me check my document. My document which is closed because I restarted my computer. Also gonna open the window a little bit because I am warm. Recent documents. What was I going to do? That had to be postponed. That had to be postponed. There are certain goodies I really want to share, but I don't want to share them half-baked, so I'm going to wait till they're like really ready. So I'll do a little bit of chronicling, I think. And these are going to be turned into like standalone videos. Personal take on a piece of LoD lore. Since humans can't naturally use magic, why do you think humans have varying affinities for using magic items? This is an annoying part of the game because it makes sense sort of, but then it doesn't make sense. So it makes sense in the way that in a world of magical creatures and monsters and things, they need to be able to fight back, so they have artificial item magic, supposedly. But because it's from the common lens of you are the main character, you do the things, everything else is just background stuff, the world isn't necessarily treated in an ecological way where they do things on their own. So if you've played like Monster Hunter World, and you're familiar with the ecology there, where bosses fight each other, bosses will go after minor mobs, like say, even back to Monster Hunter 1, the Rathalos would go after an herbivore, the Aptonoth or something. And so they're treated as entities with their own lives and their own interactions. There was probably a hint of an idea to explain why humans have the artificial magic, but in the end, it was just a way for you to access magic before having a Dragoon form. But you get it pretty early in Hoax, at least. There are so many ways to attack, and I feel like that crowds out the game. Additions are the highlight. Okay, we've got that. Additions are the highlight. Physical melee attacks for the most part. Those are the highlights. The immersion, interactive combat. Then you've got the Dragoons, which is where you have dragon powers, and it's magical, and it's very powerful. And okay, so you've got two forms. But then you've got the item magic squeezed in the middle that completely dwarfs Dragoon damage almost universally. And you still have access to items, unlike Dragoons. It's really weird. It's very potent. In the Japanese release, it's not so powerful, so it's more balanced. But there's just so much crowding that the more you crowd different systems together, the less each one gets to shine, or it just feels like a haphazard glued-on sort of experiment. LoD is full of random glued-on experiments. They experimented with branching narratives and all these other things. They were experimenting with a lot, so it's not quite cohesive. That's the outside of game answer. In game, I have trouble still explaining it because it never quite lines up for me, no matter which way I come from, which angle I approach from. So, for example, if humans were afraid of Winglies, they probably wouldn't have the item magic. Having the item magic means they would be able to handle Winglies and not be afraid of them. The fact that the magic is so cheap to buy, and it's an abundant supply, obviously, for the sake of the game, there's an infinite supply, so you just buy as many as you want. It doesn't necessarily mean there's infinite in the world. But it's cheap, it's accessible everywhere, merchants are selling it all over the place. Humans have so much destructive power. If they ever get into a fight, two humans could just sling burnouts at each other to win an argument. I don't know. It's really weird. I have never really settled on an opinion about it overall. It's too much crowding. And although it adds accessibility and it's a new system to try, it defeats the purpose of humans not being able to use magic. It's like, we can't use magic, but we can use magic, and it's better than almost everyone else's magic. The lore and the combat aren't linked, and they don't respect themselves in terms of what they 5 or 6 burnouts at the quote-unquote sea monster, and they've opened up the route themselves, you know. And there's plenty of gung-ho warriors around, as exemplified in the Fernie bounty hunt with Kamui. So, a lot of assorted thoughts there, for sure. You've been playing Monster Hunter since 2009. I am also an old-time player from the first game on the PlayStation 2. It could be pretty rough, but I miss it a lot. I miss the actual gathering and strategizing, and the QOL stuff is great, but it makes it feel like so plastic sometimes. I want to actually do the hunt, and now it's so easy. So let me do a little history of the game and its fandom. These are going to be turned into like actual proper videos at some point, but I thought I would just go over my script a little bit and see what you think of some of it. So starting with the early years, Legend of Dragoon first released in Japan on December 2nd, 1999. The game touted many bold ideas such as interactive combat and state-of-the-art FMVs. Unfortunately, its sales were not strong for various reasons, which also extended to the European release in 2001. However, between these 2 points, LoD found much better sales in North America. The game sold so well that it earned a greatest hits release. The seeds of the LoD fandom were in place. The early years for LoD looked like many other games. At the turn of the millennium, we primarily had 2 things: fan sites and forums. Fan sites were amateur websites created by random people who wanted to make a website about a specific thing they loved, be it a TV show, music, video game. They generally looked bad because back then the internet was barely entering the public consciousness, and many fan sites were made by kids, including myself. I had a little LoD fan site. I was really proud of like custom scroll bar colors. That was really cool. Not necessarily practical. They could be bare bones or contain a wealth of knowledge. Many people made fan sites for LoD and posted some info about the game, as well as their thoughts, but these sites were essentially read-only, except in cases where a guest book could be signed by visitors. Forums 25 years ago were the precursor to modern things like Reddit. Each forum was its own ecosystem on its own website, each requiring a separate account to be made in order to post and reply. This was the first way LoD fans could truly interact with one another. We chatted about the game, came up with story ideas, asked each other who our favorite character was, and so on. Most of us were 10 to 12 years old at the time, and we were the first generation of kids to connect with others worldwide about our common interests. There isn't much left from those days, but this list of topics by itself conveys a basic idea, and I have some reference images I'll be sharing from archives of the Game Winners forum. There's a couple loose shots of our list of topics, and it's pretty much what you would expect from a bunch of 12 to 15-year-olds. For several years, this is the type of interaction we were limited to, and it's where our collective history began, when we were first able to interact with one another or each other's fan sites and stuff like that. If you like that, I'll keep reading. If it was too dry, let me know, but if you genuinely enjoyed hearing that, I'll read the other sections. It won't take too long. I'm just kind of eating time to see if that package will arrive. I'm old too, you know. I'm getting there anyway. Yeah, I totally missed the Yahoo groups. I was a frequenter of the early internet, but I never really got into Yahoo groups. I had Yahoo Messenger, and I was obsessed with the Yahoo Fighter game. I don't know if that was preserved. I know there's a few mentions of it in articles, but that's it. I would be really interested to see what those would have looked like. What kind of features they had. You want me to keep going? Alright. I mean, so Manslapper, you're gonna... I mean, I've already mentioned you a few times. Various stand-up members of the community are going to get mentioned in terms of the projects I highlight and stuff like that, the things we do. But don't worry about it. Alright. Early years. So initial growth, rich media, and social media. Can you tell us more about the original creations and where do mermaids fit in numbering wise? It's unknown where mermaids fit, or even if they're an original species, because in real life they're considered a hybrid of two other species, at least as far as I know. But the original 108 species, there's not much known about them. It's mostly the ones that are mentioned in game. The Menintos, Gigantos, Winglies, humans. So it's mostly just human offshoots, ironically. The lore is clear that everything in the world in the present day is either an original 108 fruit species or an evolution of them. However, we obviously have like 4 different flavors of human, and they're all different species instead of being evolutions of one of them. And that bothers me. That's a weak point in the lore, in my opinion. It's a thing. So, in terms of other original species, we don't really know. You could make guesses based on real life, because the planet is basically based on Earth. You have, like, say, some kind of fish, one or a couple different fish species, different mammal species, like a bear or something. It's unclear how granular it would get. Some people ask, like, well, if you count up all the enemies in the game, is that 108 different species? That's not really how it can work, because the lore confirms that at least half of all the original 108 are destroyed because of Winglies or something like that. I have to double check, but there's some lore about that. There's no way to really quantify what is an original and what is an offshoot or evolution, especially because, like I said, combat and lore are not well married most of the time. They contradict each other quite a bit, and that's something that would need to be tightened up in a theoretical remake as well. So yeah, unfortunately there isn't much info on original 108 species. The big ticket item would probably be Zekwell's species, which is, they have many different names. Residents of the Darkness, the Writhing Darkness, roughly translated. There might be a common name for them. I recently asked Manslapper and Char about that. I don't know if we followed up on that, but the common name might be Dark Tribe. We need to double check that. Screenshots of the old sites. Oh yeah, so I have, we can look at that actually. Why don't we take a look at that? Let's go over there. Resources, old fan sites, and we'll pull up the screen here. This one. Oh, it's still got that secondary thing. Let's get rid of that. Sorry, my green screen is not perfect right now. I have a new one coming in the mail. So I created a list of legacy websites. It's not comprehensive, obviously. It's just what I could save for the time being, and we'll expand this list as we go. But I looked up all the prominent ones I could that I remembered. So, for example, Indianist.net. This is one that I used to frequent. This is how it used to look. Choose your destination. Oh, now it's loading. So there was some Inuyasha stuff. Sessamaru, I remember all these names. Suikoden. They had fan art? Is the fan art preserved at all? Probably not. First fan art, woohoo, been so lazy anyways, been really addicted to Ratchet and Clank. Okay, sure. That's not LOD fan art. Okay. So, obviously the sites looked a little better originally because, you know, the whole site was available, not just these fragments. Page not found. Hey, and a pop-up was preserved by archive.org. Isn't that lovely? Sign up for the Perpetual Donation Machine, ISP Fund. This feels like something that's relatable in today's gig economy, right? This aged really well. This aged so well. Also, if my mic was popping too much, I apologize. The slider was too high. That looks creepy as hell. It's supposed to be like an angelic cherubic thing, but it looks super creepy. Yeah. Also, like, slow GIFs. Slow GIFs used to be a thing where, you know, instead of, you know, fluid moving, you know, video GIFs, it was just still image scrolls on a slow rate. You haven't agreed on a name for them, but of the darkness. Yeah, so we'll stick with the darkness for now, I guess. Anyway, so sometimes you're going to have hit or miss with this stuff. Dust, Moonlight, Grand Stream, it was just like based on one of the spell names, and it was for that character. And does that actually go anywhere? Yeah. So this is where we used to have some of the translations. So to be fair, I'm not technically the first person who tried to share more information about the Japanese guidebook. I've always been transparent about that when it comes up. This person who went by Janine at the time had attempted to share a bunch of info from the guidebook, providing the Japanese script and all the numbers and everything, common info, rare info, the dragon rank chart. Could not translate some of it. Age and height information. This is something I want to do, because there's age and height for so many different characters. It's nuts how many characters get ages and heights just because it's pretty nutty. And there was some connection to SwiftGold's website, which was, I think it was called Inception. Yep, Inception, a shrine to the original Dragoons. This was one of the most well-known fan sites. They had a guest book. That was the only way to interact back then, outside of forums. Does the darkness believe in a thing called love? I don't know. That's a question. Is there any more concrete lore about how the Wingly cities flew? Curious from a world-building perspective, are there any ancient materials that aided that process? So I would love it if there were. There aren't any materials that I'm aware of, except for one hint. Only one. So this is a very loose theory of mine. I nerded out with Crasis or somebody else on the Discord server years ago about it. I was doing some guidebook research and doing my machine translation stuff and probably talking with Shar for confirmations, and I got to a part where it said that the transport lifts in the Black Castle were based on Wingly teleportation technology. Obviously, you don't see the characters like warping in those green energy balls, but based on the same tech, I was like, okay, that's pretty weird. And I thought, well, why is that? Obviously, Melbu passed it on to Lloyd, who passed it on to Dole in exchange for his cooperation, I guess, or whatever. Take these Dragoon spirits, distribute them to people you trust, get the girl, get Shauna, and your empire will thrive, or whatever they fed him as a line. So fair enough with that part of the story. But they're siphoning magic from this desiccated, deceased dragon, which is possibly a violet dragon, or a thunder dragon, excuse me, that Dole would have found and then commanded to come back to the castle and then killed it. Which, I don't know. It depends on how many eyes it had, on the feasibility of killing it. Maybe Melbu helped to kill it. I don't know. But either way, hell, maybe they didn't even kill it. Maybe they just like chained it alive and siphoned the magic from it while it was alive so it would last longer. Kind of like a slow drip of their blood if it was a human. That way you have an infinite supply, technically. So, whatever the case may be, the dragon is most likely a thunder dragon, thunder element. And there's the purple flame, although there's also the white and the green flame, so I don't find it considered to be conclusive necessarily. But in any event, it's a dragon being siphoned, and it's very obviously being used to power the place. So if the pads are based on Wingly teleportation tech, that gives me the loose theory that Winglies were able to, maybe not as the sole source of power, but were able to harvest magical energy from dragons to power their cities, to power their teleports, to power their magical artifacts, to power their signet spheres, to power who knows what else. I don't know. Is that the package?
Nope. It's a cat.
Oh, I've already got Purdy in here.
I know. It's
Okay.
feeding time.
So, that's my loose theory. I don't have enough evidence to really back it up. It's just like a circumstantial kind of a thing, but that's where we are with that. My only clue is the potential for using dragons and possibly other species' magical power to power their own stuff. Not that they would really need it, because back in the day, Winglies were mega powerful. Not all of them were born with potent magic, but they did the whole thing where they would like kill kids who were born if they didn't get born with potent magic. There's something in the book about that. So clearly they had a lot of magic. They were doing the immortality stuff. They were still doing the immortality stuff after their magic was collectively dwindling. They talk about magic dwindling in the world overall, from Melbu talking to Lloyd, and Ulara still has their immortality intact. That could just be a story mix-up on the writer's part, but I'll take it as it is. And they shouldn't need a dragon's power, but maybe it was just part of, hey, we're subjugating them anyway. Let's take everything they're for, or take them for everything they're worth. That's the phrase I'm looking for. So if dragons are highly destructive and have a lot of power, why not save and store that and use it, I guess, or augment themselves? Who knows? It just feels weird because, like, Melbu was so potent in magical energy. Just himself, Melbu by himself, was so potent in magical energy, he had to wear that restraining device on his skull. What you see on his skull is the restraining device. It's in the lore. So he's already so full of magic, he will, like, entropically explode or whatever if he doesn't have the restraining device to contain his magic potential. That's already a lot. Okay, it's a lot. Rivaled only by Faust and maybe one or two others. And then he's already got that, but he goes ahead and is like, to the point of bursting into flames or whatever, is not powerful enough. I need more. gets the power from the 108th soul, and that also is too much, so it has to be contained in the crystal sphere. He's running 2 restraining devices. It's excessive. Doesn't need... They have so much power, they could probably power their own cities with whatever... with their own innate magic. I mean, the idea of the Winglies is that they're just humans who can fly with elf ears and white and platinum hair instead of other hair colors. They're otherwise functionally the same. They are humanoid, they have 2 arms, 2 legs, they got eyes, they think, they rationalize, they do warmongering. They're just a copy of humans, really, with magic. And so the idea is that they generate magic naturally, like other species such as dragons. So it's probably slightly less potent than most dragons, but able to be more focused because they're not feral. So that's the idea. I would imagine they could just power it themselves, but maybe they were just storing up. Yeah, so greedy. It's so greedy, and you're super welcome. It is one of my more favorite subjects to talk about, just theorizing on how all these things intersect. Purdy, you gonna let go? Purdy. Purdy's doing the bunny kick thing with my arm. Let go. Hey, excuse you. I'm a little busy. It's a very big day. Do you have any idea? I said it's a big day. Do you have any idea? And she's just like chomp right on my knuckle. And now you're taking a bath like nothing happened. Yeah, of course. No. No. Gentle. You got a whole bed. Paid a good $25 for that bed. Anyway. So yeah, fan site stuff. This stopped being updated around 2008 apparently. I wish she was able to keep it up. But we also have... LoD Squared was a big one. I happened to miss that section of things. They had the forum and a few other resources, last I recall. They were trying to hype people up for LoD 2, apparently. They had a calendar. So it's mostly a forum, it looks like. I don't know much about that website yet. There was legendofdragoon.net. This one I remember the most. Just the interface was very simple. You had these little drop downs, story summaries. Like, this person could have been a wiki editor. They had some character data for the main characters and other characters. What other characters? This one has Ilsa and Lo compared to Isha in the North American release. You got secondary characters. Zakwell, the devil. Zakwell is so much fun. They had some printables for status abnormalities, accessories, additions, art of fighting. Art of fighting. Look at this. The art of fighting. Look at this cool website. They tried... Wow. This was written to, like, be understandable by kids. Yeah, this is plainly written. But this yellow text on white background is really awful. Contrast needs to be a thing. We didn't really think about that back then on the web. If it was mostly readable, it was fine. I've seen like red on green. It's really bad. But it looks like this is a pretty solid guide for all the features. You got the colors for the elements, the weaknesses. What a boss screenshot of Dart and low res. But it was a pretty solid website. Most of the pages were pretty simple, pretty readable. They had MIDIs, MP3s, videos, and video clips, or voice clips. Remember when videos were only like 3 megabytes? I miss that. Yet they took longer to download because our ISPs were worse. Movies for all these different things. And in WMV format. Probably made with Windows Movie Maker. Oh, wait. Music videos? Music videos. Haunted by Goran. Three Doors Down by Forgot. I forgot who it was. Bring Me to Life. Random Person Number 3. Random Person Number 3 has the most credits here. I've heard Haunted. I've heard the Three Doors Down. I haven't seen the other ones. I should check these out. Yeah, they didn't save it, but it's probably on YouTube or something. I bet somebody saved it. You know, maybe I have it. I might have it. Do I have the only copy of this video? I have a long backlog of things I need to check to see if, you know, I am the only one and I have to put it out there or not. And 3 quality options for the videos. That's excessive. Even our podcasts, I only offer in 2 quality levels. But yeah, so there's a whole bunch of legacy websites. LD Direct. Why don't I have a website for that? Either that's a mistake or I never found the original website and it was just a reference. I did get in touch with the person who ran this site, Safe Dragoon. I had to find them through Instagram. I don't remember if they actually joined the Discord server, but that was a thing. Like I got to talk to one of the fan site makers. That was pretty cool. Digital DNA is a special one. It's a pretty comprehensive site in Japanese. Oh, they updated the cover. Yes, let's translate. Information for the original PlayStation RPG LOD. They're using the NA discs here for the picture. They documented a little bit about the PlayStation 5 release, the remake campaign that I did, linking back to our website. They link some of the products, and here's... What is this, a render of Shauna? I don't remember what that is. What is this? Oh, it's a custom. It's a custom, that's fine. Okay, so they have some general information about the game, but they were very instrumental in helping me do my research, because whenever you're doing research as an archivist or just researching, you depend on what's there from other people, obviously. And this site was very instrumental. So this site is responsible for some of the breadcrumbs I received to help me track down specific magazines like the ones I showed you. This one in particular has that funky dart image with the laser sword on the giant cover of the magazine, not just a small image. I have a couple of these now. This one, the Famitsu, you might recognize this one. And sometimes it tells you like this is a walkthrough on this one, so nothing too juicy. But I really had to be sure, so I got all the ones that I could. And then there's what is it, movie info? For whatever reason, on the movie page, they also had the magazines listed here for making of articles. So I had a different CG World article. I'm trying to get the other two. I found one of them. Designplex had no picture, so I had to Google this to figure out what Designplex was. This is where some extra juicy stuff could be. That's in the package coming tonight. And then Making of Game Graphics is the one that I had. I showed you some of the pictures. And Nikkei CG, this one was infuriating. All we had... This was an interview lost to time. For whatever reason, the owner of the Digital DNA website had this thumbnail. And you can zoom in and you can make out some of the characters, sure. Especially someone fluent in Japanese can make out some of the characters. And there's a few English words like Lightwave, Maya. We know what software they're using. Maybe we can make out who these people are. We know what these pictures are. But it cuts off. It's not even complete. I thought it would be too blurry to translate. So I sent it to Char and Manslapper anyway, like the other month. And they were like, I don't know. And I ran it through machine translation, and it extracted like 90% of it with decent confidence. And I was like, oh, well, I guess. But I still wanted to find the full thing. I managed to figure out the exact website. There's a bunch of Nikkei affiliated websites, and I found the right one finally. And it was so amazing. I have recovered the full version of this article. And we don't have to wince and strain our eyes to figure out what the characters are so we can translate them. So that was a huge win. The problem is they provided image materials and the links are broken. And it hurts so much because I would love to know what those images were. So I sent a message to Nikkei, who still exists today, the magazine company, and the business company. They said they would try to help. They sent me this form to fill out, which I really do not want to fill out because it is like, I will fill it out, but there's so many fields and it's weird filling out this form just because I want to preserve knowledge. I'm not like trying to get permission to repost their article as like another magazine or anything. I'm an archivist. I need to save stuff before it gets lost. Can you help me? And there's this big freaking document I have to fill out, and it's a whole thing. A lot of these things, I don't even know how I'm going to answer the questions. But they got back to me. And I guess that's something. So, if it was an English company, I would just call. Not getting into that. Just not. I don't even know if I get service to that area without incurring a bill. So, I fill out the document and see what happens. Fingers crossed, because archive.org did not happen to preserve those images. They were actually like in PDF files. It was pretty weird. I mean, I've seen weirder, but anyway, that was a whole thing. Excuse me. So, anywho, let's get rid of this pop-up. So I'm going to read some more. I'm going to read a little more. Back to the history stuff, so I can at least get us to the point of teasing the future. Initial growth / rich media / social media. This is so the early years were like the release up to 2004, 2005. Eventually, websites started being more interesting. Forums were becoming common. Art websites were starting to be a thing. Now, initial growth, rich media, and social media.
Still no package.
Okay,
sorry.
no package yet. So rich media, social media. This was like at the dawn of media consolidation. So it started with things like, what was it? Dig before Reddit? I don't remember. YouTube around 2005. That's rich media. And so from 2005 up to like the early 2010s, we started seeing the advent of Facebook and Reddit and probably Twitter as these different mediums and these different formats that we could celebrate our fandoms, as well as just talk about life in the world and whatever else. Again, other fandoms would have this stuff too, and just chat about the game that they love, reminisce, share strategies, ask questions, and so our collective history kept building up. So let me see here. Oh, okay. So with time, LD fans would start uploading gameplay videos and post fan art just like other fandoms out there. Eventually, we'd get other forum solutions like GameFAQs and Reddit. Conversations became more widespread because of them, but also because LOD's success was a bit latent. Although initial sales in NA were high enough to qualify for a greatest hits release, many people wouldn't play the game and become fans until years later. So this is alluding to the whole, like, we got good sales in NA, but a lot of us felt like we were the only fan and everyone else was more into Final Fantasy instead or whatever. I've heard so many stories of people who were like, no one else in my area played it except me. So we had like this mass isolation going on. Even today we have mass isolation. It's just slightly reduced through efforts like mine. But there's still a large number of LOD fans who still have not found our main website or our Discord server where we do all the projects and things. It's a long process. So that was the initial growth. And then we have the Awakening era. Until the latter half of the 2010s, the fandom's growth continued as normal. More content was being made and shared over time. As with any fandom, you know, people were uploading more fan art, more gameplay videos on YouTube, whatever the case may be. We were starting to get into that groove, getting used to that. But this would be a turning point. In 2017, I created a Discord server so that we could have instant chat with one another. That wasn't really doable on the other networks, not in an efficient way. I don't remember exactly when Reddit had enabled chat rooms, but it just would be a nightmare to deal with because it would be disorganized and harder to moderate. So we have the Discord server. We've had that for about 7 years now. And then in 2019, the website was created to house resources and community news, among other things. We put together an entire archive of noteworthy materials and created dozens of community projects. Thanks to initiatives like this, LOD fans came together more than ever, and yet this was just the tip of the iceberg, which I didn't know at the time. I was just starting to put things together, and it was technically on purpose, but it was also very like accidental. I kind of fell into it over and over again, expecting there to be other people who would want to like build this infrastructure and do operation stuff, and it turned out that would not be the case. So it was a weird time, especially for me, but thanks to my efforts and that of others, we were able to start trying to coalesce and unify and get everyone to have the same access to the same knowledge that we were uncovering, so everyone could be empowered with that knowledge and enjoying the art and all that stuff. Yes. All right. So in December of 2020, a random fan joined the Discord server with the intention of reverse engineering Legend of Dragoon and rebuilding it into a PC port. At the time, we had been used to the idea that doing reverse engineering would be very far-fetched or impractical, but we wished him luck anyway. And nearly 2 years later, in August 2022, Monoxide returned with a playable build for us to try out. It had lots of visual bugs and missing features, but this would become the start of something incredible, and it has been. Anyone who's familiar with Severed Chains knows it's been feels like a semi-long but still really incredible and pretty fast-paced journey overall. Slowly working up to have all of the features of retail so that I could compare and rival emulation, and then now with the dev build of version 3 finally exceeding emulation just about entirely. So over the next few years, our fandom would grow at a faster rate. More fan content, news, community projects, and events took place over the course of the pandemic. The PC port Severed Chains also took shape with multiple milestone releases. And then nearing the end of 2024, we've come such a long way. Despite a small beginning, our fandom has grown so much and done so many cool things. And yet, in many ways, it's just the beginning, which I really believe is the case because, yeah, it's been 25 years of history. But now things are more coalesced. We have lots of resources and projects ongoing. More and more people keep funneling into the fandom over and over again. And Severed Chains is getting more and more exciting. We've started to get news coverage from major outlets like PC Gamer, and other things that I can't fully disclose at this time are developing. That is not a new game. I will clarify that, but exciting things have started to happen, and I really look forward to sharing what some of those things are going to be. For the time being, I can tell you that we're going to have some additional services coming through our website. So, for example, we'll be adding new sections of the website. We're going to start featuring more fan content, and we're also going to feature the magazine data, the interviews in particular, so that you can have a whole list of interviews to check through. Some of them will be review that you've already read before, but some will be brand new that almost no one has ever read, unless you were a random fan in Japan at the time who read these magazines. So that's going to be really interesting. I should finish eating my cookie. All right, so that's pretty much what I have for the history section. I got to do a little bit of edits on that. I'm not going to talk too much about the future stuff. I'm getting pretty tired, but suffice to say, there are a number of things lined up. Like I said, this is my plan B for the festival, where instead of doing a lot of things today and then having it end pretty quick, today is just the kickoff event, the launch party, if you will. And then every single week, we're going to have some kind of guided event. We're going to have all of you encouraged to share your stories with one another, specifically because it is the 25th anniversary. Even if you've done it before, bring up once again your favorite memory or your origin story of how you found LOD or whatever the case may be. If you do fan art stuff, share that with each other. And then in between all of that general business, we'll do the guided events and activities. We've got some multimedia events where we're going to focus on a winter theme. So winter theme for fan art and music. There's actually a couple of examples I plan to show as part of that. And we have some various reveals and surprises. Tonight I've revealed the magazine and interview stuff. I will also... Let's see, what else did I have? So another thing that I'm working on is expanding our list of known assets. So, for example, on the resource archive... No, not that one. This one. Let's change the view. So in the resource archive, we've had this for a number of years. It's evolved and changed over time. There is a lot of different concept art. This is kind of part of my origin in terms of going from a regular fan to accidentally becoming more than a regular fan, being an archivist and all this stuff and looking things up and researching. I found all of this extra concept art. Some of it is known, but a lot of it, especially the pencil sketches, are not known by most fans. And 99% of these have been verified to be official concept art. It's pretty incredible stuff. Now, this has been in there for a little while. This is the concept art. And then over here, we've got a set of promo renders. Now, some of these show up as duplicates because we provide them in both the original file format, like the TIF, as well as a transparent PNG or whatever. So we've got the Rose TIF file, the original, the PNG, and then the transparent PNG that you can use. Now, ideally, these would have all been available from the beginning, all in one place, on like a really wicked fan site from like 2005 onward, so people could augment their own fan sites with it and stuff. But at least we have it now. We've got commercials. I only have one in here so far. Interviews. This is the wrong folder for this. I have another folder for that. Merch. What's in here? So some of these just aren't filled in yet. This is a few images from the original official website, the timeline thing. But what I'm saying is this will be augmented with more stuff. So, for example, there are a lot of renders that are not in there right now. For example, the really high-res wallpaper. Originally, when we were getting the wallpaper online, for those of us who got the wallpaper as kids, it would be really low-res versions of these. But I was able to find 1772 by 2362 resolution, which is pretty high. 2400 by 3200 for this shot of Albert and Dart and Rose in Velweb, looking at the like spear shooter or whatever. Excuse me. Really highly detailed. Like you can see all these individual like scratch or patch marks on Albert's clothing. The detail on the shoes. Detail on Dart's sword over here. It's pretty incredible. Some of these are blacked out because there's corruption in the files, but I'll fix that. Super high res with the Virage and Kulan. Like, I don't know what this thing is under Kulan besides like an engine pod maybe, but it's got a lot of ripples and detail here. And the whole party is here in pretty good detail. Good shot of Miranda's face. Good shot of Kongol's armor buckling stuff. He's got some tatter on his gauntlets. And even the Dragoon form for Dart and Rose and all that. Now, the official TIFs are not properly transparency fixed. Like, there's this weird glow stuff, and there's a line along the sword here, and this white outline. Maybe it's all the time they had, I don't know, but this is an imperfect file that needs fixing. So in this case, we'll have like the original and then like a fixed version once we get around to that. Excuse me. The Queen Fury is great in high res. So much detail on Shauna's clothes. You get so good of a look at the whole ship, the Queen Fury. As well as the flag, like coat of arms. Most games, they wouldn't provide images so high res, so you would not get that much detail. So there'll be more things added to the archive, probably in the next week or two. Where's the other one? Yeah, some of these as well. Some are already on the archive, but I have to like go through and check them all. But anyway, so that's one of the other things we'll be doing. Why do I have a message? So the package is super late. It's just my roommates have checked very frequently and it's still not arriving. That is unfortunate. Where is the package? Oh, Tuesday by 9 p.m. Tuesday. I can read. I can read. Okay, so we might not be staying up for that after all. It's going to be Tuesday. Today is Monday, at least for me. Hello, Ren. Your story is you were a burgeoning JRPG fan in the late 90s, fresh off your FF kick with no PS2. There was only one other game in your PS1 library, which you loved on a similar level. That's pretty cool. For people who the parents would not buy a PS2 so quickly, they might have gotten them Legend of Dragoon instead, you know? You'd usually catch the VOD. Yeah, I remember Pony Bro. The timing was not right for you. That's for sure. We did so many of them, though. Like, if we could commit to, like, a weekend thing, but that's ironically harder to do sometimes, at least for me. But we've now got the live stream on Sundays. They've kind of gone back and forth on it now. I guess it's going to be Sundays now, so we'll see. They were going to do Mondays because they apparently got more people on Monday, but whatever. But we're going to have more streams and events in general for sure. I've slowed down on streams just to prevent from burnout. I have to be able to go through a whole playthrough again when RB3 drops. And I'm already running the game frequently for bug testing and things, so I need to not burn out. And that's why I try to focus on like qualitative streams or occasional streams just to not oversaturate myself. Like, I already spend so much time on LoD as it is, but there will be new things, and we're going to keep doing some guest features because I love community spotlight stuff anyway. Everybody wins. And speaking of that, we'll have some new guests for the podcast on, what did I say, December 7th, Saturday, 1 p.m.? What did I say? Yeah, I think it's going to be 1 p.m. So the big thing is to spread the word. I've already done the initial sharing on major social media. So both of the large Facebook groups, the subreddit, Twitter post with hashtags, Discord, of course, all of that stemming and routing through our main website. We need help sharing that with additional fans who might not be privy to any of those social media hubs. Get people talking about it. Try to not be too forceful with it. Just, be respectful, of course. But if you know LOD friends and fans in person or online, and you're not confident that they've already seen this, link them to Dragoon Fest, link them to our main website in general, and be like, we've got this whole festival going on. Because we want everyone to get to enjoy this festival. There's going to be a lot of cool things, and we'll be doing recaps so that no one has to miss anything, really. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to structure that, but we'll be rolling out various posts. The Dragoon Fest page will be updated over time. Like, this will probably be the same, but our events will be updated over time. We'll collect a list of event history as well with some recaps, probably down here actually. And I'll make sure all of the goodies and reveals that aren't review are also collected in a little drop down here somewhere, something. And that way you won't have to worry about fear of missing out or anything like that. So I open the floor to questions one last time before I start tapering off the stream for the night. Yeah, I'm running on the third hour here, so I'll give you all a few minutes. Let me know if you got any questions before we sign off for the night. Thank you to everyone who has stuck around or who has come in during the middle. We've covered quite a bit of stuff, and although this is like my plan B for how Dragoon Fest would start, it's technically better this way, because then I can space out all of the releases and reveals and info drops and things, and we can all join in that celebration long term over time. And hell, if there's enough burning passion for it, maybe it'll roll right into the 25th anniversary of the North American release. Who knows? We'll see if it lasts that long, but I'm definitely predicting at least 3 or 4 or 5 weeks of various events to celebrate. And hopefully we get some news coverage, because there are still so many LoD fans who aren't connected to the global fandom and thus are not able to enjoy Dragoon Fest with the rest of us, and just general goings on, not just the festival. So with any luck, we can get some traction, get some big visibility boost, or maybe finally a mention of Legend of Dragoon on a major subreddit that isn't just the cover art, or hey, look at this enemy name, it's Assassin Cock, ha 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 ha, getting like 3,000 or 4,000 upvotes and then no momentum or awareness of the actual LoD fandom and the cool things that we're doing. You know, we are a living, thriving legacy fandom, and that isn't highlighted anywhere near enough. You're super welcome, Source Speed. Glad to share all of it. Yeah, I know you try, Pony Bro. I'm getting the word out. Left it on the menu screen too long. Well, I don't think that's really a mistake. The longer it's on the menu, the better. Alright. I don't really have anything else at the moment. I am technically holding back a few things, but that is intentional. So I will drop some more goodies in the coming days. There will also, I should mention, there will also be some Easter eggs. There will be, I won't call it an Easter egg hunt, but there will be a few little secrets dotted throughout the website. We'll see if anybody finds those. Those should be live in a couple days as well. That'll be fun. I used to do it on my personal website. Actually, I still do it on my personal website. There's a secret there. But that one's not related to LoD. That one is related to an imaginary character. So, that's all I've got. Thank you all so much for joining me for this little kickoff party. This was mostly just me live streaming stuff and talking about stuff, but expect the video production quality to go up and to see the return of pre-recorded uploads instead of just live streams, because we have some stuff you need to be shown to inspire you, to drop the reveals to you, just make everything look really good. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for my juicy secrets. It's going to be a blast. Share Dragoon Fest. Wish each other a happy Dragoon Fest. Make a holiday out of it. Make it a federal holiday. Make it a day that you get a day off work for it. Maybe not the last goal. So that's it for me. You will hear from me very soon, as well as all of our other prominent members of the community doing cool stuff in the name of LoD. So long live Legend of Dragoon. Let us begin the 25th anniversary celebrations from here. Good night, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a good day tomorrow. And good night.